As you all know, this is certification day. Woo! Okay, no, we're not happy. Okay.
This has been a vision for me to invest not only within my community, what's in our heads as well as on our heads. So as an educator and now transitioning out of the classroom to something that I can say has been a vision of mine for years. It's important for us to have the hair care and proper maintenance of ourselves inside and out. Thank you, Jessica Madasi. Thank you.
The kind of community that I have been able to build here in a short amount of time. Like, we've been together for 5 weeks? Is this like week 5? And I already feel like I know everybody. And that is a big deal. You're definitely filling in the gaps to some of the things that I have been lacking and some of the questions that I have had that I've had to figure out on my own without having the support. So having this support and knowing that you ladies are here for us is a huge deal. Like, it's a huge deal. So I'm just grateful to be here.
Just having gone through this course and having the expertise and that confidence that I am utilizing the best technique, that gives me a lot of comfort, but also it instills trust in my clients. I'm actually about to expand. Definitely worth the investment.
I thank you for you being honest in your business practices and allowing us to learn your technique with integrity, and then setting up everything that we need to be able to truly start a business right away from it if we really truly wanted to do that. So I thank you for that. It's like having that lifetime access to it. Yes. That is so valuable, because I have taken classes before where you pay all this money and then you only have access to it while you're in the class, and then you don't have access to it anymore. So thank you for that as well, that lifetime access. Any day, I would rather choose Mrs. Jessica method than somebody else's, right? How could you go against a method that absolutely works? You just can't go against it.
The Legacy of Liberation panel, Locks Rule the World. I have Dr. Joanne Cornwell, the great creator of Sisterlocks. We all know about those, right? Also have our sister Jessica Marshall. She is the one and only founder of Natural Beautiful Hair Care. Okay, Jessica, why don't you tell us a little bit how you got started and everything?
Yes.
Were you a home-based business?
Yes, okay, because I've already been emotional about Sister Cornwell. So, and I don't know if I shared this with you. I was at Columbia University, chocolate chip and a sea of white students, and I really, when I saw my natural hair, I broke down. So I started to just do twists and different things to help my natural hair. I got locked by someone that you trained directly. I appreciate Joanne Cornwell's understanding and kind demeanor. I actually, at that time, my Latin, she was a bootleg sister. My Latin, she was a bootleg sister.
I'm a big proponent of giving respect. I don't want to slander. I want to be honest. I felt that she was able to say that in a public panel, recorded public panel. I have a right to be able to speak back. In that moment, I couldn't decipher how I would say something back without being disrespectful. And I had spent all that time being respectful and enamored, quite, frankly, with all the opportunities. I was like, she's really cool. Like, maybe we could do this, we could do that. She sounded like she wanted to keep going talking about it. When I was thrown in that moment, I was thrown off. I was disappointed. Yes. On a personal note, like I said, there's times where people get confused and think they can try to play me. So a lot of that is also if I say something, it might come out. My default wants to be nice, but if I am pushed, and then it gets to be a whole different Jessica. And so I didn't want that, because I did feel disrespected. So I said, but I'm going to be graceful because I'm a businesswoman. I know my value. I want everyone watching this to know your value, because it's going to be, you probably already dealt with this, or you may deal with people, whatever you do, trying to put you down lower than where you belong. Let's put it that way. And so I was like, well, I know what I've contributed. This is pretty bold. That's pretty disrespectful. I laughed it off. She squeezed, like a joke, but that's not a joke. You don't joke in the public like that. There's jokes you say behind closed doors, with that person, and there's things you say publicly to make sure somebody stays back. And that is behavior that you do when you're threatened. I don't mean to analyze it, but I can't help but analyze kind of human behavior. And that only told me that you're threatened, and you want to make sure that I'm put in my place, or that is known that there's a hierarchy. There's definitely legend status given with pioneer status, but then when you want a hierarchy on quality and skills, and now we got to switch. So there's not one just hierarchy. I think it should be respect and give and take exchange. I think there's opportunities for both of us, or really anyone who's willing and open to grow together, But we also have to be willing to work together, not feel so threatened by each other. And I always say, if someone is presenting to you respect, take that. And that goes far. I think that puts a different energy on things. I am Jessica, founder of Naturally Beautiful Hair Care Microlock Mastery. I created Microlocks to address the needed innovations that were missing, and basically upgrading small micro-size locks 15 years ago. Okay, primarily there was Sisterlocks. And so I teach the tools, the systems, and the methods that will give the best results. I train you on a solid foundation. That's not just about training you to a tool, or confinement to products, or you got to use this type of tool. Like, that's not how I train. I want to give you a foundation so that you have a knowledge basis to pull from, so that you can become, so that people can add to their professionalism and provide effective solutions and high quality results. I've noticed consistently lock loss in the typical size that people did with the Sisterlocks. Which is why I wanted to step in with some of these things. Let's redo the sizing. Let's throw away what doesn't work. Why do we have 50 million rotation patterns? Why are locks lumpy? Why is it weak in this spot on the lock and strong in this spot? Why is there so much hair out? Why the edges breaking off? And not because of postpartum alopecia. I've had thin edges also all my life, and some of it is passed down. My mother she's had very weak edges, and she actually doesn't have hair. And a lot of her edges, a lot of Black women deal with that. And I inherited that. And so how can I not make that more of an issue? I haven't lost any locks on my edges. My edges just look like this because they're thin. After I had my baby, postpartum alopecia was happening. And then I had COVID. And on this side, I lost a lot. Like, we want to go into medical issues and hormonal issues, or we want to talk about foundations being great so that you don't see a bald spot unnecessarily, but that I can't change necessarily how my hair is going to grow out in other ways. What I can do is create a strong foundation for it so that I don't lose, or it's very minimal loss, or very minimal kind of things. That is not what I was noticing when there's these standards that aren't taken in consideration some of these other factors. And it's just like, you're going to do this size, this size, this size. It actually was becoming more problematic, a lot of what I was seeing. And then you have just the strong foundations, the sizing to still get thick, beautiful locks that don't have to be super micro. And when people go through medical or personal, even mental health impacts your hair. It impacts a lot. So stress, you want the foundations to be strong. I size for strength and refinement. That's my Microlocs, right? And so my clients' Microlocs, and some of they slightly vary in size, slightly vary in density, but strength. I want the hair to look and feel and be strong. Most people look for strength, refinement, consistency, and like high quality. Right. So I train on those core things that are going to give that. And so it's because something is popular doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to give the results. And because it may be popular among a certain demographic, such as DIYers, doesn't mean that it is something that is still standards and foundation for a pro level. Now, when we get into sizing, I've got some pictures for y'all. Although our locks look like they're about the same size, I think that hers are still smaller. And typically those are the size that, you'll find a typical sister lock. What I've noticed from the hair show that I saw to clients that I've served was the sizing. And I also noticed it on Cornwell, right? Very, very tiny. And what has been shown to happen is they tend to break more, not just because they're small, but because the tension of the tool. If y'all gone through any of my programs or boot camps, you know that I have categories of the tool types and how they impact the way the hair is locked. So the combination of the looser, which is why sometimes you may tend to see people who are exclusive sister locks, never use another tool, maybe possibly tend to have like a fluffier or a softer kind of lock. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying in combination with weakened areas that could be due to sizing or improper sizing for texture, that has become a large part of what I've been seeing overwhelmingly. And so a lot of people have wanted to combine their locks or create a stronger foundation. So this was a person started with Sisterlocks and coming in for work. I talk about sizing and feeling that her size was small. And it's not just this area. It's all over her hair, because sometimes there's thinning in certain areas where the roots and the lock size is smaller because there's thinner hair. As you can see, she has a pretty good amount of hair. So all throughout her hair, it was that same kind of consistent density. But the curl and the sizing and then the loose hair that kept coming out and the lack of repair that should have been done for years. Okay, let's just say she wants this size and we can make this size work, which I probably wouldn't have done it this small, but let's say we want to make it work. There needs to be attention paid to, I don't know if this was color treated at the ends, it looked like, and then left, but it just unraveled and was never really pulled in and repaired and corrected, which takes more time. And I was finding I have to speak from my opinion. It doesn't mean it's a fact, but I was finding there were locticians that were speeding through for time to make sure they can be fast. And I was noticing neglect. I was seeing things overlooked. And also I noticed that there was a wide gap in who knew how to repair. So that was an interesting thing that I noticed. And when I talk about my interaction with Sister Joanne, I go back to how much emphasis is being placed on repair, effective repair methods, and combination of prevention. And if there needs to go outside the box of tools to find, to use a different tool, how is that incorporated into that structure? And I didn't think that it was, because there was an absence of these solid standards. Long overdue. Wanted to put all that information in this book. So we cover everything from, to how you're defining microlock techniques within the hair industry in comparison to other lock techniques. So locking in itself is its own realm, but within this realm of locking, there are sub realms where things don't always apply the same. Especially when you're going really small. So we talk about why there are certain things that we do or don't do, etc. It is with my pleasure that I announce this book, over 100 pages,